Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Meditation Reflections, and it's 31st of July, and welcome.
On a Friday. So the transition to August, the last month of winter, though I often think September is pretty cold too. Not an enormous amount coming in, but I got something a little more unusual. Each of the guides had a little something to say this morning, which I went, oh, okay. But what they were all talking about is identifying when something is true and actually helpful, but basically pointing out that sometimes it takes a while to figure out if something's helpful, and something that seems very dangerous can turn out to be very useful, which is kind of wild. But anyway, the first one was talking about trees in the forest, and that occasionally the loggers have deliberately cut down a diseased tree, and that's actually very helpful for all the other trees in the area.
Yep.
And that helps. And others were talking about, well, you know, when a child's growing up, they have to learn to protect themselves, to be active. And sometimes you go, am I encouraging them to be violent? And no, it's a necessary thing that they have to go through and grow out of, which I found kind of astonishing. And she says, oh, it's like a mother cat will put a caught mouse in front of her kittens when she thinks they're old enough that she can teach them how to pounce on a mouse. So it's a learning process, and that way they can feed themselves if they get themselves out in the wild, and so it's necessary information. So it's bad for the mouse and good for the cat. Okay, so you work your way through them, and sometimes a piece of truth takes time to see all the details of it, and in particular all the relationships of connection that let you see that this outcome is good. And that tended to be I would call higher level sources or longer lived sources who were talking to us about discernment of truth.
Yeah, I think that's the key word, is discernment, because unfortunately, many people are very gullible and are willing to believe what they're told or read or see on TV or whatever. And the gullibility level, unfortunately, is very high. So get as much information around something as you can, and also look at the sources and be aware. You know.
And time itself, if there's counter sources, other footage, other angles of perception, and other levels of relationship, and suddenly you get real truth. And one of the advantages of having this gray hair, so some of you will share that process at some point in your lives, is you've seen things go from meaning one thing to
Yeah, looking at things from a higher perspective.
Or some extra time or some extra research.
Yeah.
I lived through, of course, the Watergate hearings and all that, and then 5 years later we began getting the books that were explaining all the relationships, and you go, oh, what was going on wasn't what I thought was going on. And then that's a little spooky, but it's definitely a lesson usually taught by history.
Yeah, we've still got lessons to learn and truth to find out, because no one has all the truth.
True. A lovely subject in its own right.
Yeah.
Anyway, have a wonderful weekend. We will see you on Saturday, and have a great start of this last month of winter, and
Last day of July.
last day of July, and get out and enjoy whatever the weather we can. We've got cold wind this morning, but it is clear.
So, blessings.
Blessings upon you.
See you next time.